In Venezuela, where years of political oppression have driven more than 6 million people from that country, we urge the Venezuelan-led dialogue and return to free and fair elections. We continue to stand with our neighbor in Haiti as it faces political, fueled gang violence and an enormous human crisis.
So Biden at the UN today vowing to effectively fix Venezuela and Haiti eventually as his own policies destroy the country that he currently resides in. And until Biden uncovers the remedy for international poverty and misery and gang crime, he's effectively still inviting migrants to keep flooding our borders, saying it makes no sense to return them to their homes. What do you think that's going to lead to? And that means shipping all of the people that come across our border across the country to other places inland in the United States on midnight flights, an action that got almost no mainstream press coverage when it was happening, and then watching the media and his colleagues, Democrats, hyperventilate and scream fascism and kidnapping when Ron DeSantis does the same thing. So you see how this works now. A rogue Democrat sheriff from Bexar County, Texas, which is San Antonio, has opened a criminal probe into DeSantis for simply flying illegal migrants to the sanctuary haven that is Martha's Vineyard, for giving Martha's Vineyard everything they've always asked for. They want to be a sanctuary. Now they finally have some people to give that to, and then they kicked them out. Here is Sheriff Javier Salazar.
They are here legally in our country at that point. They have every right to be where they are. And I believe that they were preyed upon. Somebody came from out of state, preyed upon these people, lured them with promises of a better life, which is what they were absolutely looking for.
Open border sheriff in Texas who claims DeSantis was involved in some elaborate scheme to convince illegals in Texas to travel to Florida so that he could ship them off to Martha's Vineyard for a political stunt. It's the same sheriff who oversees a county where 51 smuggled migrants were found dead after being stashed in an 18-wheeler earlier this year, suffocated to death with no air conditioning in the sweltering Texas heat. Senator Ted Cruz joins us now. State of Texas, good to see you, sir. First off, how incredible has it been to watch the left able to react so strongly to an identical action to what their leader has been doing for a year now?
Well, listen, it has been spectacular to see the brazen hypocrisy on the left. You know, this idea is one that I proposed a year ago. I introduced legislation that we should be sending our illegal immigrants to places like Martha's Vineyard, to places like Nantucket and Palo Alto, California, and Cupertino, California, and Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, where Joe Biden vacations. And when I introduced it, I filed that legislation. It was interesting that these jurisdictions, they reveled in it. Actually, the county executive in Martha's Vineyard last year said that they would welcome illegal immigrants in Martha's Vineyard, and he went on to use the exact word you just used a minute ago. He said he wanted Martha's Vineyard to be a haven for them. And he went on to say, and you know what, Cruz has no idea what he's talking about. There is no border crisis. And then I'm very glad, shout out to Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis. They both took my advice and they put illegal immigrants on planes and they sent them to Washington, D.C. and New York and Chicago and now Martha's Vineyard. And it was amazing. 50 illegal immigrants arrive in Martha's Vineyard, and these blithering hypocrites within minutes declare a crisis, declare an emergency. They lose their mind with 50 of them. Rob, we have seen 4.4 million illegal immigrants come into this country since Joe Biden became president. And the corrupt corporate media, they utterly ignore it until suddenly they show up at a billionaire's playground. And, you know, it's not news until Buffy's tea time is interrupted. That's what happened, and it shows just how full of crap these hard leftist hypocrites are.
It has been a spectacular display. I mean, it's shown you everything you need to know about the current Democrat Party, that's for sure. I want to talk about your state. Your Governor Greg Abbott signing an order today designating cartel and gang members trafficking fentanyl in Texas as terrorists. What exactly will that enable?
Yes. Well, it enables additional law enforcement tools to be directed at them. But I'll tell you that what we're seeing is an explosion of illegal drugs coming into this country, especially fentanyl. Last year, we had over 100,000 overdoses in the United States, the highest ever from fentanyl. Fentanyl is poisoning our children. And I got to say, between the over 50 immigrants who died in a tractor trailer of heat exposure outside of San Antonio, between all of the dead bodies, I've sat down with farmers and ranchers in South Texas who show you photograph after photograph of dead bodies they find on their ranches, of pregnant women, of children, of elderly people, the cartels abandoned to die. The Biden body bags keep piling up, and the corrupt corporate media ignores it all. And when it comes to fentanyl, those body bags, the lives that are being destroyed by Biden's open borders, keep getting worse and worse, and the federal government, the executive branch, ignores it.
It's astounding. It's astounding what they're capable of ignoring in this country. That's what we've really realized. And when you have, like you said, when you have a complicit media, it makes it so easy to ignore these huge, staggering problems because the agenda is threatened and nobody wants to do that. I want to play a soundbite from Gavin Newsom here from California, talking about, he was asked about why all the people are leaving California for Texas.
We lost about 182,000 folks, the vast majority, almost the entire amount, impacted because of the visa policies in the Trump administration. I mean, our formula for success is getting first-round draft choices around the rest of the world. I mean, we're as dumb as we want to be.
Just get your reaction to that.
What utter nonsense. Look, Democrats lie, and I got to commend Gavin Newsom. When it comes to Democrats lying, he embraces his role. He's willing to lie just right into the camera. He doesn't hesitate at all. Let's be clear. Why are people fleeing California? Because they've utterly screwed it up, because the taxes are too high, the regulations are too high, they're destroying jobs, and their crime policies are so insane that people are terrified of their families being assaulted. Stores see raving marauders going in there because these idiots won't prosecute people for theft. You know, I saw a story recently that said that 50% of the residents of San Francisco have been a victim of crime in the last 5 years. That is insane. That is not normal. That is not America.
That's insane.
That is Democrats gone wild. And I got to say, Rob, I saw a story in the Babylon Bee that said Texas is building its own border wall made of nothing but used U-Haul trucks from California. And it's just a pile of U-Haul trucks covering the whole border. There's a lot of truth to that.
There is a lot of truth to that. That is something else. Senator Cruz, always good to talk to you, sir. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Great to be with you.